Why do men tolerate disrespect from women who claim to care about them? Here's the harsh truth. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. And yet, too many men let disrespect slide in the hope that things will magically improve. Let me break it to you. They won't. Respect is not negotiable. It's the foundation of any meaningful relationship. And if a woman constantly disrespects you, she's signaling one thing loud and clear. She doesn't value you. So why are you still sticking around? Some men have been conditioned to believe that being patient or understanding in the face of disrespect is the noble thing to do. Society tells you that if you call out a woman's bad behavior or set firm boundaries, you're being too harsh or controlling. That's a lie. A real man doesn't just demand respect, he commands it through his actions, his standards, and his willingness to walk away from anyone who doesn't honor him. Here's what most men fail to realize. A woman who truly values you will never test your worth through constant disrespect. She doesn't need to push your limits to see how much you'll tolerate. Women who engage in such behavior are either testing your boundaries or exploiting your lack of self-respect, and it's on you to put a stop to it. This video isn't about bashing women or promoting negativity. It's about teaching you, as a man, to set the tone for how you're treated. If a woman repeatedly disrespects you, it's your job to stop rewarding her behavior with your attention, time, and energy. The way you respond will either reinforce her behavior or force her to change or leave. Disrespect is a red flag that should never be ignored. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to handle a woman who disrespects you without losing your dignity or self-worth. Let's dive in. 1. Stop chasing her approval. The moment you start chasing a woman's approval, you hand over your power. When you constantly seek validation, you're silently telling her that her opinion of you matters more than your own. And trust me, women pick up on this energy quickly. The result? She stops respecting you. No one respects someone who doesn't respect themselves. Chasing her approval looks like this: constantly agreeing with her even when you don't, over-apologizing for minor things, or bending over backward to make her happy while neglecting your own needs. These actions might feel like you're being a good man, but in reality, they signal desperation. Desperation is the quickest way to kill attraction and invite disrespect. A woman can't admire a man who is always trying to please her at the cost of his self-respect. Instead, you need to shift your focus inward. Ask yourself, why am I so concerned with her approval? Am I trying to prove my worth? A confident man knows his worth isn't tied to anyone else's validation. He doesn't need constant reassurance to feel good about himself. When you stop seeking her approval, something amazing happens. She starts chasing yours. Respect grows when she realizes you're not willing to sacrifice your dignity to please her. For example, let's say you're out at dinner, and she dismissively makes fun of your career choice in front of her friends. Instead of laughing it off to seem agreeable, you calmly but firmly say, "I'd appreciate it if you didn't make jokes like that. I take pride in what I do." Then, without lingering on it, you change the subject or excuse yourself from the conversation. By standing your ground without overreacting, you demonstrate self-respect. She'll notice that you're not afraid to call out bad behavior, and over time, she'll think twice before crossing that line again. The key here is to stop seeking approval and start commanding respect through your actions. Chasing her approval only reinforces her disrespectful behavior. The moment you value your own opinion more than hers, you set a standard for how you expect to be treated, and that's the foundation of any healthy relationship. 2. Call out disrespect immediately. Disrespect, if unchecked, only grows stronger. The longer you allow it, the more comfortable she becomes with treating you poorly. By failing to address it right away, you send a clear message. This is okay with me. If you want respect, you need to confront disrespect the moment it happens. Not tomorrow, not after you've cooled off. Immediately. Calling out disrespect doesn't mean you need to yell, argue, or lose your temper. In fact, the most powerful way to address it is with calm and confidence. When you stay composed, you're not just showing her that her behavior is unacceptable. You're showing her that you're in control of yourself. Respect begins when you demonstrate self-control and strength in the face of disrespect. For example, imagine she interrupts you repeatedly during a conversation, dismissing everything you say. Instead of ignoring it or brushing it off, you calmly stop talking, look her in the eye and say, "I don't appreciate being interrupted. I'd like to finish what I'm saying before you respond. Then, hold your ground and finish your point. This approach does two things. It immediately stops the disrespect, and it sets a clear boundary without unnecessary drama. What you should never do is let the behavior slide, hoping she'll figure it out on her own. Disrespect doesn't fix itself. It thrives in silence. By addressing it directly, you set the standard for how you expect to be treated, not just by her, but by anyone. Some men fear calling out disrespect because they worry it'll make them look aggressive or insecure. The reality is, when you calmly call someone out, it shows that you value yourself enough to demand respect. It's not about starting a fight. It's about stating your boundaries with authority. A woman who values you will respect your directness. A woman who doesn't will expose her true colors, and that's information you need to have. When disrespect arises, deal with it immediately and confidently. Your response teaches her, and everyone else, how to treat you. By confronting it in the moment, you reclaim your power and show that respect is non-negotiable. 3. Don't argue, set boundaries. Arguing with someone who disrespects you is a losing game. The more you engage in heated back-and-forth exchanges, the more power you give away. When you argue, you're essentially begging for understanding or validation. Two things a disrespectful person is unlikely to give. Stop arguing. It doesn't work. Instead, set boundaries and stick to them. A woman who disrespects you will often bait you into arguments to shift the focus away from her behavior and onto your reaction. She might twist your words, deflect blame, or make you feel like you're the problem. If you take the bait, you'll find yourself in an endless loop of trying to defend yourself. This not only drains your energy, but also reinforces her belief that she can control the situation. Boundaries, on the other hand, are not up for debate. They're not about winning or losing an argument. They're about defining what you will and won't tolerate. When you set a boundary, you're making it clear where the line is drawn. If she crosses it, you don't explain yourself or argue. You simply follow through with the consequences. This is how you maintain your power and self-respect. For instance, if she constantly belittles you during conversations, your boundary might be, I won't engage with someone who talks to me like that. Once the line is crossed, you calmly disengage from the conversation or remove yourself from the situation. You don't need to yell or prove a point. Your actions speak louder than any words. Most men struggle with boundaries because they confuse them with ultimatums or think they sound too harsh. But boundaries aren't about controlling someone else. They're about protecting your peace and self-worth. A boundary says, this is what I need to feel respected. And if you can't meet that, I won't stay in this situation. That's not harsh. It's self-respect in action. When you stop arguing and start setting boundaries, you send a powerful message. You value your dignity more than winning a pointless fight. Women respect men who know how to stand firm without getting drawn into unnecessary conflict. Arguments drain you. Boundaries protect you. Choose wisely. 4. Withdraw your attention. When dealing with a woman who disrespects you, your attention is your greatest weapon and your greatest liability. Most men make the mistake of continuing to pour their energy, time, and focus into someone who treats them poorly, hoping things will eventually change. Here's the truth. Attention is a reward. And if you keep giving it freely, you're reinforcing her behavior. If she disrespects you, the first thing you must do is withdraw your attention. Attention is a currency in relationships. When you shower someone with it despite their bad behavior, it tells them they can act however they want without consequences. A woman who disrespects you will only continue to do so if she knows you're always available, always listening, and always reacting. Instead, pull back. Show her that disrespect leads to disconnection. Withdrawing attention doesn't mean ignoring her out of spite or playing manipulative games. It means redirecting your focus to things and people that bring value to your life. Spend time on your hobbies, invest in your personal growth, and nurture relationships with people who respect you. By doing this, you subtly communicate that her behavior doesn't control your world, and that's a powerful shift. Women notice when a man who used to be overly available suddenly stops being at their beck and call. It forces them to evaluate their behavior because they lose the validation they were taking for granted. This doesn't mean she'll instantly change, but it creates space for her to realize that if she wants your attention, she has to earn it. It's important to understand that withdrawing your attention isn't about punishing her. It's about protecting yourself. Respect is a two-way street, and if she isn't meeting you halfway, you have every right to step back. You're showing her through your actions that you won't tolerate being disrespected. Remember, attention is powerful. Don't waste it on someone who doesn't value you. Withdraw it when necessary, and watch how the dynamic shifts. You'll either see her behavior improve, or you'll gain clarity that it's time to walk away. Either way, you're the one taking back control. 5. Show her you can walk away. Many men fall into the trap of thinking they can fix disrespectful behavior by holding on tighter, trying harder, or proving their worth. But let's be honest, how has that been working for you? If a woman feels you'll stay no matter how she treats you, why would she ever respect you? It's time to wake up. Respect isn't earned by begging for it. It's earned by showing her that you're strong enough to walk away when necessary. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Too many men stay in situations where they're disrespected because they're afraid of being alone. They think walking away means they've failed or that they're not man enough to make things work. This mindset isn't just damaging, it's self-sabotaging. Clinging to someone who mistreats you doesn't make you a man, it makes you a prisoner of your own insecurity. Walking away isn't about playing games or trying to make her miss you. It's about valuing yourself enough to leave when your boundaries are crossed and your dignity is at stake. A man who knows his worth doesn't stay where he's not respected. He doesn't beg, plead, or try to convince anyone to treat him better. Instead, he shows through his actions that he won't tolerate disrespect because he doesn't need to. If you can't show her you're willing to walk away, you're showing her that you value her more than you value yourself. And here's the kicker. Women can't respect a man who doesn't respect himself. They may enjoy the attention or the control, but deep down they'll never admire or truly value you. Critically, this isn't about being cold or heartless. It's about having the courage to put your self-respect above your fear of losing someone. If she realizes she's about to lose you and she values the relationship, she'll adjust her behavior. If she doesn't, you've just saved yourself from wasting time on someone who wasn't right for you anyway. Men, wake up. You're not a doormat, you're not an emotional punching bag, you're a man with value and purpose. Start acting like it. Walking away isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the ultimate demonstration that you know your worth and you won't settle for less. 6. Never tolerate public disrespect. Disrespect in private is bad enough, but when a woman disrespects you in public, it's a whole new level of humiliation. Public disrespect is her way of showing everyone, your friends, her friends, or even strangers, that she doesn't value you. And here's the hard truth. If you tolerate it, you're essentially co-signing her behavior. A man who allows himself to be disrespected in public loses not only her respect, but the respect of everyone watching. When a woman publicly disrespects you by belittling you, mocking you, or dismissing you in front of others, it's a blatant test of your self-worth. Will you sit there and take it, trying to laugh it off to keep the peace? Or will you stand up for yourself? Too many men choose the former, thinking it makes them look cool or unbothered. But in reality, it makes you look weak. Here's where men often go wrong. They assume calling out disrespect in public means creating a scene. It doesn't. Strength isn't about yelling or embarrassing her in return. It's about calmly addressing the issue in a way that commands respect. For instance, you can simply say, "Let's talk about this later," and immediately withdraw from the situation. By refusing to engage further, you show that you won't be treated like that, even in front of an audience. Tolerating public disrespect sends a dangerous message, not just to her, but to everyone else around you. It tells people you don't value yourself enough to demand respect. Over time, this erodes your credibility and makes it harder for anyone, including her, to take you seriously. People treat you the way you allow them to treat you, and public disrespect should never be allowed. Men, understand this. A woman who disrespects you in public doesn't fear losing you. She's confident that no matter what she says or does, you'll stick around. That's why it's crucial to set a hard line here. If she continues to embarrass you or disregard your dignity in public settings, you must be prepared to walk away, for good if necessary. Public disrespect is a red flag you can't ignore. Handle it with composure, but don't tolerate it. Respect yourself enough to demand the same from others. If she can't honor you in public, she doesn't deserve a place in your private life either. Never tolerate it, period. 7. Stop rewarding bad behavior. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships is rewarding bad behavior, often without even realizing it. When a woman disrespects you and you respond by showering her with more attention, trying harder to please her, or giving in to her demands, you're teaching her one thing: bad behavior works. This creates a toxic cycle where her disrespect increases because she knows you'll tolerate it and even reward it. Think about it. What incentive does she have to change if every time she crosses a line, you respond by bending over backward to accommodate her? You're reinforcing her actions and telling her there are no consequences for treating you poorly. It's time to stop. Respect yourself enough to break this cycle. Instead of rewarding her bad behavior, address it directly and calmly. Let her know you won't tolerate being spoken to or treated in a certain way. If she continues, withdraw your time, attention, and affection. This isn't about being spiteful or manipulative. It's about setting a standard for how you expect to be treated. Actions speak louder than words. If she sees that disrespect leads to losing access to your energy, she'll be forced to rethink her approach. For example, imagine you're out together, and she makes a cutting remark about you in front of others. Instead of laughing it off or pretending it didn't happen, you calmly address it later. "I didn't appreciate the way you spoke to me earlier. That's not how I want to be treated." If she brushes it off or doubles down, don't argue. Simply step back, emotionally and physically, until she shows genuine effort to correct her behavior. Rewarding bad behavior only encourages more of it. When you stop rewarding it, you disrupt the pattern. You show her that disrespect doesn't lead to attention or appeasement, but to consequences. This shift forces her to evaluate how she treats you and whether she's willing to rise to the standard you've set. Men, it's simple. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you continue to reward disrespect, it will only grow. But when you stop giving it power, you take back control, and that's how you begin to command respect in return. 8. Stay calm, but uncompromising. When faced with disrespect, many men make one of two mistakes. They either blow up in anger or stay silent, hoping the issue will resolve itself. Neither response works. Getting angry makes you look out of control, and staying silent makes you look weak. The real power lies in staying calm but standing firm in your boundaries. This balance is what earns respect and shows that you're a man who won't tolerate being disrespected. Staying calm is crucial because it keeps the focus on the issue at hand. When you lose your temper, the conversation shifts from her behavior to your reaction. Suddenly, you're the bad guy, and the disrespect gets swept under the rug. But staying calm doesn't mean letting things slide. It means addressing the disrespect clearly and confidently without losing your composure. Being uncompromising doesn't mean being rigid or unkind. It means sticking to your values and boundaries even when it's uncomfortable. If she raises her voice, cuts you off, or makes dismissive remarks, calmly point it out. Let her know it's unacceptable and that you expect better. If she pushes back or tries to downplay her behavior, don't argue or explain endlessly. Stand your ground. Your boundaries are not up for negotiation. This approach works because it shows strength without aggression. A man who can stay calm under pressure and still hold his position is someone people naturally respect. Women, in particular, are drawn to men who don't waver in their standards, no matter how much resistance they face. It signals emotional maturity and self-respect, qualities that are far more attractive than someone who's easily rattled or overly accommodating. Too many men avoid conflict because they think it will make things worse, but avoiding the issue doesn't solve it. It only allows the disrespect to continue. Staying calm but uncompromising shows that you're not afraid of confrontation, but you're also not there to escalate it unnecessarily. This isn't just about managing her behavior, it's about managing your own. When you stay calm and firm, you reinforce the message that you're a man of principles, and those principles aren't optional. Respect follows naturally when you show that your boundaries are non-negotiable, and your composure is unshakable. That's the kind of presence that commands attention and respect. 9. Make her earn your time. Let's get one thing straight. Your time is valuable, but too many men act like it's an unlimited resource, freely available to anyone who asks for it, even to women who don't respect them. Wake up, men. When you give your time to a woman who disrespects you, you're telling her that your energy and presence come without any standards. Why should she value something you're handing out like it's free? Here's the harsh truth. If you don't value your time, she won't either. She'll take it for granted, knowing she doesn't have to do anything to deserve it. This is where many men go wrong. They overinvest in women who underdeliver. They're always available, always ready to listen, always eager to please, even when the disrespect is blatant. And then, they wonder why they're not appreciated. It's time to shift the dynamic. Your time is not a charity, it's an asset. Treat it like one. A woman should feel privileged to have access to you, not entitled to it. This doesn't mean playing games or being unnecessarily difficult. It means setting a standard. If she disrespects you, withdraw your time and attention. Show her that access to you is a privilege that can be lost if she doesn't value it. Too often, men try to earn a woman's approval by overgiving. They think that by being overly generous with their time, they'll win her respect or affection. But this approach backfires. Women don't respect what comes too easily. If she knows you'll drop everything for her, even when she treats you poorly, you're signaling that your time has no worth. Men, stop acting like your time is a discount item on a shelf. Start acting like it's a limited edition. If she wants your attention, she should show you respect and effort. If she doesn't, stop giving her access to it. This isn't about being mean, it's about being smart. Critically, this isn't just about how she sees you, it's about how you see yourself. When you prioritize your time and set boundaries, you're sending a message. I value myself enough not to waste my energy on disrespect. And that's the wake-up call many men need. Stop overgiving. Start making her earn the time she gets with you. You'll find that respect and appreciation will follow. 10. Don't apologize for your standards. Listen up, because this is crucial. You should never, ever apologize for having standards. Too many men cave in and lower their expectations just to avoid conflict or to keep the peace. They think it'll make them more likable or easier to deal with. But here's the truth you need to wake up to. Having high standards isn't a flaw, it's a strength. When you apologize for your standards, you're essentially saying that you don't believe you deserve respect or basic decency. You're giving her permission to push your boundaries, knowing you'll back down. But the moment you apologize for expecting respect or decent treatment, you're signaling that you're willing to tolerate less than what you deserve. This is how men lose themselves in relationships. They lower their standards and make excuses for poor behavior. They say things like, "Oh, she's just having a bad day," or "I shouldn't expect too much from her." Stop making excuses for disrespect. You don't need to apologize for valuing yourself or demanding respect. In fact, a real man doesn't apologize for setting boundaries. He enforces them. And if a woman can't handle your standards, that's not your problem. It's hers. You are not responsible for her comfort at the expense of your self-respect. It's time for men to stop feeling guilty for standing up for themselves. Too many men try to accommodate bad behavior or make compromises to keep a woman happy, all while sacrificing their dignity. But when you start apologizing for having standards, you teach her that disrespect is acceptable. Why would you ever want to do that? You don't owe anyone an apology for knowing your worth. If she wants to be in your life, she has to meet your standards. And if she doesn't like those standards, that's fine. She doesn't have to stick around. The key is that you're not going to change your expectations just to make someone else feel comfortable. Your standards are non-negotiable and they should remain that way. Here's the reality check. Real respect is earned, not demanded. If she disrespects you, don't apologize for calling her out. Don't backtrack or soften your stance. Stand firm in your values and don't be afraid to walk away if she can't meet them. You'll find that the women who genuinely care about you will respect your standards, and the ones who don't won't stick around for long. And that's exactly how it should be. Here's the truth you probably don't want to hear. If you're constantly disrespected by the women in your life, it's because you've allowed it. You've set the tone, and you've taught them that your respect is negotiable. Now it's time to wake up and realize that you are the one in control of how you're treated. If you want to stop the cycle, start with yourself. The moment you start respecting yourself enough to set and hold strong boundaries, you'll see the world change around you. But here's where it gets controversial. If you can't enforce these boundaries, you will always be disrespected, and you have no one to blame but yourself. Men who let their standards slide or apologize for demanding respect are the ones who get stuck in toxic relationships time after time. I want to hear from you. What's been your experience with disrespect in relationships? Have you made the mistake of tolerating bad behavior, or have you learned how to stand your ground? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll personally reach out. Let's connect and keep this conversation going. You're not alone in this. Let's break the cycle together.